Hello, this is a video tour of your Preschool Literacy Center key assignment. And I'm starting on the key assignment area of Blackboard. Just to point out that for this one, it's your second key assignment in terms of chronological order, and it is due Sunday, April 10th, 11:59 p.m., and that is both a document upload, that's your center plan, plus a Flipgrid show and tell video where you share your materials that you created for your literacy center. Those are all due on the same date and time. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click into the Preschool Literacy Center area and just kind of work through it. There's a lot to this one. So I'm going to do my best to be efficient in this video. First of all, this will be replaced with the video itself. So it's just one of those weird things. I have to make the video, upload it to YouTube, and then create it as an embedded item, and then you'll see it right here at the top. Let's do the actual key assignment instructions next. So you'll click on that and it's going to automatically download the project instructions, which I'm just going to drag over here from my other monitor. Obviously you can read this yourself, but I just want to talk through it as well. So like I said, the Flipgrid video and the plan document upload are both due on April 10th. And then you'll have a week to go in and look at everyone's, and for a low stakes assignment, you have to reply to at least 2 of these through Flipgrid. And you can either do text-based replies or a video reply. It's completely up to you, but you need to post at least 2. More is always fun, but at least 2 by the Monday. It's like technically the very last day of our spring break because we get Easter Monday off. So that's all I'll be asking of you over spring break, is just to hop on there and do the 2 replies. Okay, if you have taken ECE courses with anyone else at Coastal, you've probably created an activity center, so you know what this is. The only difference is that every activity in this center should focus on literacy development. That's why it's called a literacy center. So your task is to create a literacy center and create an accompanying plan document. All right. So I'll show you some of these other files that this document is referencing. If you use the tools that have been given to you, I know you'll be fine. You'll be successful on this key assignment. So the first task is to choose a theme. And there's another document that I'll point you to give you some ideas about themes. But the main goal here is to come up with a fresh, interesting, appealing theme. We want to avoid the kind of tired, high-frequency, repeated themes that may come to mind at first. So, yeah. And then the other thing is that for this literacy center, part of it will be choosing 3 children's books that are related to your theme. So one way to conceptualize your theme is if there's a particular book that you love, you can build a theme around that, and then you just need to find at least 2 other books to add. Just to address these because they come up. Any book that you use for your literacy center, you can also include in your resource file, the other key assignment. But I am asking that you do not use your kindergarten read aloud book for the literacy center. I just want you to, the more books you're exposed to, the better. So that's my rationale for that policy. You are going to actually physically create your literacy center. This will require some creativity and crafting and materials. I just want to point out that we do have a stock of supplies in our early childhood lab room in the math and science building. And you can make an appointment with me and I can meet you there and let you kind of go shopping. So give that some thought. Also, I posted in the Thursday memo this week that my colleague, Miss Herman, she's one of those Cricut people. If you don't know what that is, it's a device that is used to punch out shapes in different types of materials, and you program it. It's sort of like a computer. It's pretty cool. So she has a standing offer for you all that if you'd like to set up an appointment with her, she could bring in her Cricut and some supplies and help you create some stuff. So her contact information is in the memo and elsewhere on Blackboard. You can also obviously hit the Dollar Tree. That's an option, but you don't have to spend a penny on this. You just have to make the extra effort to come to campus and meet up with me to look in the closet and get those items out of the lab. I will be the first to admit that I am not really a materials crafty person. Don't feel intimidated by that aspect of the assignment if you too are not a crafty person. It's okay if your materials are kind of low budget or a little bit amateurish in terms of the crafting side of it. That's fine. There's a difference between that and something that's rushed, thrown together, and sloppy. It needs to be clear to me that you've made a respectable effort to prepare your materials. As you are creating your literacy center, or perhaps after, however you decide to do it, you're going to complete a center plan document, and you have to use the provided template, and I'll show you that in just a second. And there are a couple of very specific requirements within that form that you'll need to pay close attention to, and email me if you have any questions. So then you'll upload that document by the deadline, and you'll also post a Flipgrid video where you do sort of like a show and tell of your literacy center. You know, in a seated class situation, we would all set up the literacy centers in class one day and walk around and look at everybody's. And we, unfortunately, with the online class, we have to do this virtually using Flipgrid, but we'll make it work. Okay, and this is just an ongoing reminder that your literacy center plan document should be detailed enough that another early childhood educator should be able to recreate your center with the instructions. Make it as detailed as possible, and view the Flipgrid video, the show and tell, as a helpful supplement to your already detailed plan document. Next, I want to point out the rubric. So you click on that and it will bring up the rubric for this key assignment. I do follow this rubric carefully when I grade, so just be sure to read over it and make sure you understand how your work is being measured on this assignment. Okay, when the time comes, this is the link where you will upload your center plan. Just click Browse Local Files. This does need to be a Microsoft Word document. Okay, this link will take you to a small video gallery of Preschool Literacy Center Flipgrid show and tell videos from last year. So please check those out. And then right below that, this is the link where you will post your Flipgrid. It's not set to be available yet, but it will be soon. And at that time, you'll be able to post your show and tell video and then go back the next week and post your classmate comments. Okay, so these are both templates for your Literacy Center plan document. The difference is that this top one has a lot of helpful notes and the bottom one is blank. And so I encourage you to download and print out both of them. When you go to actually type your plan, this blank document will probably work better because you won't have to delete a bunch of things, but I'll let you decide your own process on that. So this is the blank one. It's very stock, and you do need to use this format when you create your center plan. Let me go ahead and open the one with the guiding notes. This one. So I'll click on that and it brings up this document. And I'll go ahead and talk through this plan document quickly. Your name goes here. Age group. This is preschool. So we're looking at 2 to 5-year-olds, but I would like to see a narrower age group recommendation. And then the date. And I would like some detail about where you envision this center existing in your classroom. Plan number, you may leave that blank. That's part of the document template from Ms. Hardison. But since we're just doing the one literacy center plan this semester, I don't think it's relevant to us. Okay, we'll want the name of your literacy center, and obviously that should be related to your theme that you've chosen. Sources. Any source that you reference during the planning of this center should be listed here, APA style, using the APA reference formatting. The 3 books that you choose for your center do not go here. They go later. Think of those as materials. When I say sources, I mean any sort of outside source that you looked at as you developed your ideas. Two required sources on this are the Bloom's verb list in the NC Foundations document, and I will be opening those in just a minute. So at a minimum, we need to see those 2 listed, and then anything else you referenced. I know a lot of you are going to go on Pinterest and things like that. You do need to create an APA reference for a work on a website. More on that in a moment. The developmental domain. This is a literacy center plan, so everyone should put language and literacy for their developmental domain. Okay, learning standards and developmental indicators. I'm actually going to close this file for a second so I can show you what those look like. Okay, so if you scroll down and see North Carolina Foundations for Early Learning, your learning standards must come from the LDC section of this document. All right, so you click on that and it will open this document in a separate tab. And then I've already scrolled down to page 88, which is the LDC section, Language Development and Communication. And you want to scroll down past these goals, and we are looking for these individual bullet points, but obviously for our age group we're looking at younger preschoolers and older preschoolers for the most part. So you're going to choose 2, 3, or 4 developmental indicators based on the activities that you've chosen for your literacy center, and you should include them word for word on your plan center document and include the code at the end. So there are many to choose from, but I would like for you to choose 2, 3, or 4 to focus on. Okay, so you'll include these right here. Then you're going to compose a set of behavioral objectives that align with your developmental indicators. But these should be in your own words. The only requirement is that you use verbs from the Bloom's taxonomy. This is a list of action verbs that describe learning. Ironically, the word learn is not one of Bloom's verbs because it's too broad and it's hard to visualize it. So I'm going to close it again. And if you go back to our Literacy Center area of Blackboard and scroll down, you'll see a link to Bloom's verb chart, and you'll click on that. It will open in another tab, and we will use this list of verbs. All right. And you can format your behavioral objectives as the children will, and then use your Bloom verb and finish the sentence. Okay? So again, however many developmental indicators you have, same number of behavioral objectives. And these two sources that you'll use will be listed in this section, sources. All right. Assessment, there are 3 sub-areas: pre-assessment and prior knowledge, assessment plan, and post-assessment reflection. I'll let you read this on your own. The one thing I do want to point out is that if you choose observation as the main strategy for assessment, you need to move beyond observation. I want you to address these follow-up questions. How will you track and record your observations? How will you use these observations in your teaching practice? Is there some sort of benchmark you will be comparing your observations against? You should answer all these questions within your assessment plan. Okay, steps for organizing your center. This should be very specific. This is the part where someone else should be able to replicate your literacy center following these steps, and then after that, the materials list. I'll let you read the details on your own. And again, the books that you choose will be listed here, as well as any other supplies and materials required to create this literacy center. When you list your books, use this template. It's the APA reference template for a print book. All right. I've helped you out a little bit because I know some of you do not love dealing with the APA stuff. So here's your APA reference entry for the verb chart. And here's your APA reference entry for the foundations document. So I've given those to you. You just have to copy and paste them into your center plan or retype them. Those are 2 absolutely required items in the sources section of the center plan. Okay, just a few extra things at the bottom here. If you want to think more about assessment, these bottom 2 links are great. We've got an article and a video because a lot of students do struggle with the assessment plan piece of this project. And then I want to open this file. It's called Additional Center Plan Document Tips from Ms. Hardison. And she sent this out a few weeks ago. And I'm going to bring that up on the screen. And again, I'm not going to read it to you, but each one of these bullet points is very helpful to have the most successful plan possible and the most successful score on the activity as possible. She offers some specific ideas for examples of creative themes, and then she has a no-no list, so be on the lookout. No coloring pages, no worksheets, no pre-purchased or pre-made crafts, no videos, and no holiday or religious activities. All right. And then she says, avoid the typical overused themes and topics. So if it's on this list, probably you should not be using it for your literacy center plan, because that's just going to tell me that you didn't watch this video and you didn't look at this document. So, okay, the last thing I want to do is I'm not going to post downloadable sample center plans, but what I can do is just kind of scroll through a couple so you see what they look like. So here's student X, and you can see their sources, the 2 required, and a few more. Okay, and then the developmental domain, language and literacy, and then here are their 4 developmental indicators, and then their 4 corresponding behavioral objectives, their assessment plan, and then here are their steps for organizing the center. This person has chosen to write it in paragraph form, but you can also use bullet points or a chart. And then Here's their materials list, including the three, actually they did a fourth book, and then all the other materials. And they also went ahead and included pictures, but just know that you are still required to do the video on Flipgrid, even if you include pictures on your plan. Here's another one, Student Y. Again, they have their sources. This one has the 2 required +1 website. Here are their 2 developmental indicators, their 2 corresponding behavioral objectives, and they have bolded their Bloom verbs, which is nice. Here's their assessment plan. And then they have numbered steps for organizing the center and a materials list, plus the books that they're going to have on display in their literacy center. So as you can see, these documents end up being a few pages long. So that will hopefully give you a sense of what's expected. And I think that's it. So as always, just let me know if you have any questions. All right, good luck with this.